Picture this. It's 2014, and I'm sitting in my apartment, scrolling through Facebook, watching everyone around me level up. My college roommate just got promoted. My high school friend's startup just got funded. My cousin just bought her first house. And me? I was still trying to figure things out. Here's what nobody tells you. You don't lose a decade all at once. You lose it one day at a time. One excuse at a time. One I'll start tomorrow at a time. 10 years. That's 3,650 days. 87,600 hours. Gone. But here's the thing. I'm not here to make you feel bad. I'm here to do something nobody did for me back then. Give you the roadmap I wish I had. Because what took me 10 years to learn, you're about to get in the next 15 minutes. The question is, are you actually going to listen? Or will you be sitting where I was 10 years from now, wishing you'd paid attention today? Let's find out. Number 1, the time blindness epidemic. You know what's wild? Right now, someone reading this thinks 2015 was like 3 years ago. Spoiler alert, that was 10 years ago. And this isn't just bad memory. This is a psychological trap called time compression. Researchers at Duke University found something fascinating. When your brain experiences nothing new, it compresses time. It's like your brain is on a boring, straight highway. Everything blurs together. But on a curvy, scenic road with new sights, every mile feels distinct and memorable. Days blend into weeks. Weeks blur into years. And suddenly you're wondering where the hell the last decade went. Think about when you were a kid. Remember how long summer vacation felt? That's because everything was new. Your brain was recording every experience like it was breaking news. But adulthood? Wake up, coffee, commute, work, Netflix, sleep, repeat. Your brain looks at that and goes, yeah, I've seen this episode before. I'm not storing this one. And that's how you lose time without even noticing. But here's what changed everything for me. I started what I call memory anchors. Small, intentional disruptions to my routine that force my brain to pay attention again. Think of them as deliberate detours on that boring highway of your daily life. I took a different route to work on Tuesdays. I tried one new restaurant every month. I said yes to invitations I'd normally decline. And suddenly, time started to slow down again. Not because I added more hours to my day, but because I started living those hours instead of just surviving them. Research on time management shows that the way we prioritize our time is crucial. Spending too much time planning can actually reduce the time available for doing the work itself. Your assignment? Do one thing different this week. Just one. Drive a different route. Eat lunch somewhere new. Talk to someone you normally wouldn't. Watch your brain wake up. Because if you don't create memories, time will just erase you. Number 2, the comfort zone conspiracy. Let me tell you about the year I wasted. I had this idea for a side business. I researched everything, read every article, watched every YouTube video, made spreadsheets, planned the perfect launch. You know what I never did? I never launched. Why? Because I was comfortable researching. It felt productive without the risk of actually failing. And that's the trap, isn't it? Comfort feels like progress, but it's actually just a really nice prison. Your brain is designed to keep you safe. That's not a bug, it's a feature. Back when we were dodging saber-toothed tigers, staying comfortable meant staying alive. But in 2025, that same instinct keeps you stuck scrolling TikTok. Instead of building that thing you've been talking about for 3 years. Stanford psychologist Dr. B.J. Fogg calls this behavior design. His research shows that for a behavior to happen, you need 3 things: motivation, ability, and a prompt. By lowering the bar ability, with tiny actions, we hack the system. Your brain defaults to the path of least resistance. That's why watching TV requires 0 willpower. But starting that project feels like pushing a boulder uphill. So how do you break out? You don't need some massive life overhaul. You need what I call micro-courage representatives. Small, daily doses of voluntary discomfort that build your bravery muscle, just like lifting weights builds physical muscle. Take a cold shower for 30 seconds. Speak up once in that meeting. Send that email you've been avoiding. Start with 5 minutes on that project you're scared of. These aren't big moves, but they're real moves. And every time you choose discomfort over comfort, you're building the version of yourself who doesn't waste another decade. Because growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. It happens in those 5-minute windows where you choose to do the hard thing anyway. Number 3, the motivation myth. Can I be brutally honest with you? Motivation is garbage. I know. Every motivational speaker loves to talk about finding your why and getting fired up. But here's what they don't tell you. Motivation is like weather in Chicago. Wait 5 minutes and it'll completely change. I spent years waiting to feel ready. Waiting for that spark. That moment of clarity when everything would just click. You know how many times that happened? 0. Meanwhile, the people actually getting results? They weren't waiting for motivation. They were showing up on the days they felt like garbage. They were building systems that didn't require them to feel inspired. Research suggests that productivity problems that look like time management issues are usually energy management problems. And having too much time can actually make procrastination more likely. Let me give you a real example. I have a friend, Sarah, who wrote a book. You know what she told me? Most days, I hated sitting down to write. But I had a rule. Open the laptop at 6 a.m. Write for 25 minutes. That's it. She didn't write on the days she felt motivated. She wrote on her system. And 18 months later, published author. Here's your new approach. Build focus anchors. Set a timer for 25 minutes. Kill all distractions. Phone in another room. All notifications off. Pick one micro goal. Just one paragraph. Just one email. Just 20 minutes. What happens? Your brain releases dopamine when you make progress, not when you feel hyped. And that progress creates momentum. Momentum creates more progress. Stop waiting to feel motivated. Start building the system that works on your worst days. Because motivation is a fairy tale. But systems build empires. Number 4, the comparison cancer. Here's a story that'll hurt. 3 years ago, I was at a wedding. Open bar. Old friends. Everyone's catching up. And within 20 minutes of small talk, I felt like the biggest failure in the room. One guy just made partner at his law firm. Another just sold his company. Someone else just got engaged in Paris. And me? I'd just survived another year. I drove home that night and fell into a doom-scrolling spiral. Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, everyone winning except me. I went to bed feeling like I'd somehow missed the memo on how to be successful. But here's what I realized the next morning. I was comparing my behind-the-scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. Social psychologists call this social comparison theory. We're biologically wired to rank ourselves against others. Made sense when we lived in villages of 50 people. But today, we're comparing ourselves to billions of curated, filtered, perfectly edited moments. The lawyer making partner? He works 80-hour weeks and hasn't seen his kids in 3 days. The guy who sold his company? He's been eating ramen for 4 years to bootstrap it. The couple engaged in Paris? They're $40,000 in debt. Everyone's showing you the trophy. Nobody's showing you the training. So here's the fix. Create a past versus present tracking system. Every Sunday, write down 3 things you're better at than you were last Sunday. Did you have one difficult conversation? Did you work out twice? Did you learn something new? That's progress. Real, measurable, yours. Because joy doesn't come from being ahead of others. Joy comes from being further along than you were yesterday. Stop playing their game. Start winning your game. Number 5, the discipline delusion. You know what's hilarious? We worship people with incredible discipline. Oh, he wakes up at 4 a.m. every day. Such willpower. But here's the secret nobody tells you. The most successful people don't have more willpower. They have better systems that require less willpower. Let me explain with brushing your teeth. You don't wake up every morning and have an internal debate about whether to brush your teeth, right? You just do it. Automatic. No motivation required. No willpower depleted. That's the power of systems. Psychologists call it decision fatigue. A study in the journal PNAS found that making repeated choices depletes your mental energy, leading to poorer decisions later. That's why you start the day crushing tasks and end it mindlessly eating chips at midnight. I used to think I needed to become some super disciplined machine. Turns out, I just needed to design my environment. So the right choice was the easy choice. Research shows that successful habits are flexible systems. True behavioral change comes from learning to adapt to real-life situations, ultimately building a collection of strategies that form a personal system of expertise. Here's what that looks like practically. Want to exercise? Put your gym shoes by the door the night before. When you wake up, you literally trip over them. Want to eat healthier? Don't keep junk food in your house. Can't eat what isn't there. Want to read more? Keep a book on your nightstand. And your phone charging in another room. Want to write? Open a blank document before bed. First thing you see in the morning, that cursor blinking at you. See the pattern? You're not relying on willpower. You're engineering your environment, so the decision is already made. Because discipline is finite. But systems? Systems run on autopilot. Number 6, pain is the price of admission. Let me tell you about the worst year of my life. Lost a relationship I thought would last forever. Got passed over for a promotion I earned. Had a health scare that scared me straight. All within 11 months. At the time, I thought my life was over. I remember feeling a physical weight on my chest. Wondering if I'd ever feel happy again. Looking back, that year was the making of me. Here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to hear. Your biggest breakthroughs will come from your biggest breakdowns. Neuroscientists have proven this with brain scans. When you experience emotional pain, your brain literally lights up, in the same areas as physical pain. Heartbreak doesn't just feel like a wound. Your brain processes it as a wound. But here's the fascinating part. After recovery, your brain forms stronger connections in those areas. It's called stress-induced growth. It's the psychological equivalent of a broken bone healing back stronger than before. The brain gets better at handling adversity because it's been through adversity. Think about a bone that breaks. When it heals, it's actually stronger at the break point than it was before. Your psyche works the same way. That relationship that ended taught me what I actually needed in a partner. That missed promotion forced me to develop skills I was ignoring. That health scare made me take my body seriously for the first time in my life. I used to think those were wasted years. Now, I see them as tuition. The price I paid for lessons that comfort never could have taught me. So here's the reframe. Next time life hurts, ask yourself, what is this teaching me that comfort never would? That one question transforms suffering into a curriculum. Because success might get you applause. But pain makes you bulletproof. Number 7, the one decision rule. So let's bring this home. You now hold the cheat codes. The lessons that cost me a decade are now yours in minutes. Here's your starter pack for a different future. Time flies faster than you think, so create moments worth remembering. Comfort keeps you stuck, so build your discomfort tolerance. Motivation is a lie, so build systems that work without it. Comparison kills joy, so compete with yesterday's version of you. Willpower is limited, so engineer your environment instead. Pain is the teacher, so lean into the lessons it's offering. Now, the most important step, the one decision rule. Don't try to do it all. Pick one, just one, from that list above, and do it in the next 24 hours. Not tomorrow, not on Monday. The clock starts now. Drive home a different way. Send that difficult email. Work for 25 minutes with your phone in another room. Because life doesn't change in decades. It changes in moments. And this, right now, this is your moment. You can close this and return to the same routines. Or you can make one small decision that your future self will look back on as the turning point. 10 years from now, you'll either have a story of regret or a story of gratitude that started today. Which story are you going to tell? If this resonated with you, if you felt that little spark of, I needed to hear this, then do me a favor. Hit subscribe so you don't lose these lessons. Share this with someone who needs this wake-up call. And drop a comment telling me, which chapter hit you the hardest? Use these keywords in your comment. Time management, personal growth, building systems, productivity habits, overcoming comfort zone, because I read every single one, and your story might become the next video. We're building something special here. A community of people who refuse to waste another decade, who choose growth over comfort, who turn pain into power. You're not alone in this. Let's do this together. The decade you've been avoiding? It starts with the decision you make right now. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future, so make sure to subscribe to see them.